They'll be calling you a radical. Kevin Blanch here. I hope they can't. Yeah, it's going. There's our friend, the sea otter. Well, that's good timing, huh?
Yes, it is.
All right, stand right here and let's talk with our friend in the background.
All right.
So, introduce who you are and where we're at.
All right. Good morning, friends. My name is Chris Coons. I'm age 45. I'm a Monterey County native. I've lived here all my life, and we're here today. We're here this morning at the beautiful Kirby Park in Elkhorn Slough, and want to talk about the effects of what Fukushima after March 2011 and how it's affected the environment here on the West Coast. And what we want to talk about is how they put a moratorium on fishing, and the Fish and Game claims that the reason that they don't want people fishing for the large fish like the leopard sharks and the bat rays is because of the DDT buildup in their systems and also the methyl mercury in their systems. But let's face it, friends, this has always been going on. They've only issued this in the last couple of years. There's something else going on, and they know something that the public doesn't know, and they don't want to tell us, and that is it's associated with Fukushima, with what happened. You know, that it's buildup of probably cesium, which are radioactive isotopes. It's one of the radioactive isotopes that fish absorb. We know that the fish off the Pacific coast have cesium in it. They had it shortly after. They found levels of it shortly after Fukushima event, and so it's most likely that they want to tell us it's the methyl mercury or it's the DDT, but that's been always going on. They were letting people eat the fish before then. Why now? Why are they doing it now?
Yeah, so they, this is probably the biggest marsh in the country that's left. The one behind my house, right behind my house, I grew up on the massive Great Marsh, the Great Salt Lake Delta, but corporate welfare farmers have drained it off illegally, by the way, but I don't care. So it's such a grand ecology, get a look, and it has it all. So our friend the sea otter, but look, I was in Vienna of all places, but when I was here in 2014, I was right here. I was walking right there through Moss Landing, and I was talking to everybody, and PBS was down here. Now get this, PBS was down here shooting a documentary, Comeback of Monterey Bay. I talked to them. I met them. I saw their crews. I was here. I spent a bunch of time because I'd walked all the way from Pismo, and I stayed at the library, and I was sleeping on the cove at Carmel. Ooh, that smell. And so, dead whales. So we were doing our work, and I'm like, you guys need to get off a fucking bar stool and come out and see what I see. No, it hasn't come back. It's back in collapse. So Steinbeck, I always use his line, where's all the sardines? They're in a can. Where at Kevin Blanch, where's all the sardines? They went to sardine heaven, because overfishing, if there's a stock, they can come back, right? Now, can they come back from this? I don't know, because we're talking extinction stuff, but the progression. So, okay, so I'm in Vienna and working with the IAEA. They're the most anti-nuclear. Those people are wonderful as far as anti-nuclear. They teach it to their children. And I was with Freida Meisenblauer and the great environmentalist. So got a big lot of water, even though it's at low tide.
Cold?
And so when I'm there, they're debuting the PBS documentary in Europe. The very day that this fishing moratorium you were talking about was issued. I found it. Somebody, one of these good keyboard activists, and I have the keyboard activists that are out here, sent it to me, and so I reported it from right in front of Hitler's bunker, which is the zoo now. I mean, metaphorically. So we've been documenting here. We spent all day yesterday in Big Sur and Carmel River and the Carmel tide pools. I fell down and hurt my hand, but I feel pretty good today. I recovered right off of it, but we've got very low tide. So, I mean, you said, and I've been 2 days now. We've been all up and down the peninsula. We've got a total now of 3 orange starfish we found. So, as far as the slough, the great blue herons, the snowing. I mean, they're historic creatures. They've been here. They're some of the oldest creatures on Earth.
Yes,
You know, and
yes.
there he is. There's our friend again. You know, it's ironic. Whose house? Tell whose house we was at the point yesterday on Friends of the Otters. We were at her house yesterday.
Yeah,
Margaret.
We looked. We got some film footage in the distance at Grimes Canyon of Margaret and Nathaniel Owen's house, which they called Wildbird, and her husband Nathaniel was a famous architect, and she was the founder of Friends of the Sea Otter.
Yeah.
So she was largely responsible for the environmental protection of the otter, and so we got to see the house yesterday. I pointed it out,
And we got to see one of her proteges right there. There he is, right there.
Yeah.
You know, Margaret saved him. You know, Rachel Carson on balco. You know, Kevin Blanch. You know, by the way, Doc Ricketts did not have a PhD. Doc Ricketts had no degree. Doc Ricketts had no marine biology experience. And Cal Berkeley and the rats and the Stanfords at Hopkins Center, they still hate him, by the way. They still ostracize him. They still ostracize Rachel Carson. They still ostracize Margaret Owens, because these are grassrooters, because we care and we love the freaking earth, because we grew up that, so we do the work. And that's what we're doing here. You know, so we need funding, we need whatever, but you know, just do whatever I do. You know, I travel around and we've covered a lot of ground the last 2 days, right, Chris?
Oh,
and we'll continue to document this. So,
yeah.
Anything else you want to say in regard to the slough or Moss Landing?
Well,
Oh, hold on, one last thing. This morning, I got to tell you, because we're at Castroville. So the organic farm's next to the farm, and I picked last year. I spent 2 days picking just to say I did it, picking strawberries. So they were spraying by helicopter on a Sunday morning, right as the church bells are ringing. Ding, ding, ding. Now, they wouldn't even do that in Utah. I mean, it's the Sabbath, whatever. And they're spraying from air right down the fence line of organic versus not organic. And I want to show you something that's really disturbing here in these communities, is this. I mean, even in the ecological protected areas, there is garbage everywhere. This community, you know, and this is all over California. Now, not per se in Monterey, but Castroville and this area right here, it's incredible how much garbage that people just are willing to throw. It's all God's will. We can't control it, right? Tim Shell Dalmaeus. So anything else you want to say? Go ahead, Chris.
well, this is Kirby Park. This is a boat ramp. This is in the upper Elkhorn Slough, and right now it's high tide, as you can see. And these rocks that you see along the shoreline, there's more rocks that go into the water. These rocks in the intertidal zone were covered with the native Pacific oysters, the Australurida. And now I see that there's no oysters. They're all gone. They're all gone now. And I see, and there's trash floating. I can see trash, and there's scum floating on the surface of the water. It's changed quite a bit.
Well, it's just respect for the environment, human beings.
Yeah.
And the top of that heap is called the nuclear industry. You know, Diablo on balco. There's a reason the Spaniards called it Diablo, because they were even afraid. When it was called the Mother's Heart by the Chumash, by the way. It's not far from here, and you know, the Chumash tell the story that when the Spaniards finally set dock there, an earthquake hit and a tsunami went up the canyon, and they got the hell out of there. Then, you know, so we got the Spaniards, the mass murdering Spaniards, out of there, but they had a trump card called the nuclear industry. Let's put it in the most beautiful canyon, standing off around Balco. So we'll continue this, so stand tuned and we'll get more footage. This is a great video. Thanks, Chris. That's a good video.